Hello people, I'm Nero Comic Book Gamer. Today I'm going to be counting down my top 5 favorite plot twists in DC Comics. Now of course I'll do one for Marvel later on, but this video, DC Comics. So, there will obviously be spoilers. I'll mention the name of the story arc that it happens in, and then I'll say the spoiler, so there's your warning right there. And also this is my definitive top 5, but it's not in order, it's just randomized. These, I can't with my top 5, and then I was like, I don't know how I want to put this, so basically it's not in order, but this is my top 5. So anyways, let's get into it. Number 5 occurs in Batman Hush, and at the very end you find out that Riddler is the bad guy. He's the one that's behind it all. Now this was a huge surprise because it was set up to be Hush being the bad guy, obviously. That's the name of the story arc. Everyone thought it was going to be him. And during the story arc, it's a huge Batman storyline, and all of Batman's rogues gallery is featured in it at one time or another, basically. And pretty much everyone is involved with Hush in one way or another. But then you see Riddler, he shows up and he's just trying to steal some money, and it's like, yeah, whatever, Riddler, he's like a C-list villain at this point. No one really cares. He's got the recognition of being the Riddler, but he hasn't really done anything in a while. He's not behind anything. And then by the end, you find out that he was the one that was behind it all. He had the perfect cover. He got thrown in jail by Batman pretty early on. It was like, that is genius. He was the only one that wasn't really associated with Hush in any way, and he got himself thrown in prison, so that way, he's not behind it, checks him off the list, he's not anything to do with it. And he really messed up Batman's world a lot because, he brought Jason Todd back, that really screwed with him, and Hush, obviously being Bruce Wayne's childhood friend, Tommy Elliott, that messed with him a lot. Now, some people didn't like this plot twist because they felt like it took away from Hush a lot, which I would agree, except for the fact that later on we got tons of great Hush storylines, like Tommy Elliott really screws with Bruce Wayne's life a lot. Well, actually with the Bat family a lot, because while Bruce is away, Final Crisis and everything happened, he takes over the role of Bruce Wayne, so he screwed up with Batman a lot. Plus you have Heart of Hush, one of my favorite Batman storylines, so Hush got his due. He did a lot of awesome stuff. So this storyline, I'm 100% fine with it being the Riddler who is behind it all. And I thought it was awesome because when this book came out, Riddler hadn't done anything in years. Like, the last time he did anything really spectacular at all was during Nightfall, and that was kind of it. And even then, he didn't do a whole lot. But yeah. But Riddler had been sinking down. He was kind of like a C-list Batman villain at the time. And then this happened. It was like, Riddler is awesome again. Number 4 happens in Watchmen. Now, there's a few plot twists in that storyline, but my favorite being the death of Rorschach. Now, yeah, I could have chosen, Ozymandias being the villain, but while that was a plot twist, it wasn't that great of a plot twist to me, because if you look at all the Watchmen, they focused on a lot of the characters except for Ozymandias. You saw some things here or there, but they left him out of the book a lot until you find out he's the villain. So you could tell that Ozymandias was the villain. It wasn't the biggest plot twist in the world, to where when Rorschach died, it was huge. Rorschach was the only one that really had the guts to make that final decision, and the way he died was it was executed perfectly, and I felt so sad. I was like, no, Rorschach was my favorite in the book. Besides the fact that Alan Moore tried to make him somewhat a Nazi. Alan Moore made a lot of people a Nazi in that book. It was weird, because I loved Hooded Justice, and then it's like Hooded Justice is secretly a Nazi. It's like, why you gotta do this, Alan Moore? Anyways, getting off topic, that plot twist was great, and seeing how he died, how everything's set up to it, and Dr. Manhattan delivering the killing blow, and him just taking his mask off, screaming, just do it already, and everything. I was like, it's so emotional, and just, again, the execution of the scene was perfect. That's how you kill a character. It didn't feel forced or contrived or anything like that. It didn't feel like, well, the plot says he has to die, so he's gonna die. No, it felt natural and it made sense, especially because, what would you have done in that situation? Everyone else was like, we'll feel scummy if we don't, release it, if we don't tell people what actually happened, but if we keep it secret, then the world is safe, everything's fine, we're all, singing Kumbaya, everyone's joined together to fight this threat, and so, yeah, but with Rorschach was like, no, you don't give in to anything for justice. You keep going. You don't give in at all. So I really like that. And then Rorschach was the one who paid the price for ultimately going for justice when no one else would. Number 3, the storyline is a Killing Joke. Now, going into the book, I knew basically everything that happened, and the plot twist I'm choosing from this is Barbara getting paralyzed. I knew that was going to happen. Basically, everyone who's in the know at all about comics knows, hey, Barbara Gordon gets paralyzed in The Killing Joke. But I was thinking, like, if I had the mindset of, just someone completely new to comics and reads The Killing Joke, did not know at all that she got paralyzed in that book, would I have seen it coming? And the answer to me was clearly no. I would not have seen, hey, Batgirl is a big pop culture icon, a huge character, just randomly gets shot through the spine, paralyzed. I wouldn't have seen that coming. I don't know about you guys, but I highly doubt that I would have been like connecting the dots and be like, oh, Joker's going to paralyze her here, because it comes out of left field. It comes out of nowhere. Just suddenly Joker appears there and he shoots Barbara Gordon through the spine. It's like, what? That really happened? Like, it was still a big moment, even me knowing it happened, because just the execution of it all and how it was all done and how Alan Moore set everything up and with the panels, and it was just beautiful. It was, but like how that scene was handled was excellent. I really, really liked it, and so like that was amazing. Even knowing what was going to happen, just seeing the execution of it all, I really enjoyed. But if I would not have known anything at all, I think it would have made the scene that much better. And so, like, that was awesome. I thought it was a great plot twist. The fact that no one would have been like, I bet Barbara Gordon's going to get paralyzed. Now, I bet Joker's going to show up at the Gordon residence, open the door, and bang! I bet that's going to happen. I don't think anyone would have seen that coming. I think it was a huge plot twist and a gutsy move. Granted, at the time, this was sort of supposed to be an out-of-canon storyline, and then everyone loved it so much that DC's like, we'll make it a canon storyline. So you might have seen something like that happening, because out of canon they generally do stuff that would never happen, but it made its way into canon, thankfully, and we got Oracle out of it, who is my favorite version of Barbara Gordon. I didn't really care for her as Batgirl. I thought she was okay, but as Oracle, she is a huge, great character that is really important to the DC universe. During Superman Brainiac. Now, what happens is at the very end of Superman Brainiac, it seems like a sort of by-the-number Superman story. It's like, okay, Superman defeats the villain, he takes down Brainiac, he got the bottled Sandy of Kandor from him, and he's going to resize it. It's like, happy ending, he defeated the villain, he saved Metropolis and the world and everything, and he's got Kryptonians back now. He's got more than just, him and Kara, and so it's all good. He's got more Kryptonians, he's got more family, he's going to be able to learn more about his culture. It's like, yeah, more of my people are here. Like, he's got this huge smile on his face of the fact that, like, he's resizing Kandor, and he's like, more Kryptonians, this is awesome, I won't be so alone now, this is great. And then he hears Martha Kent screaming, and she's holding Jonathan Kent in her arms, and she's just crying and wailing, and the first couple screams, Superman doesn't hear it, because Clark is just looking straight at, the bottled City of Kandor being resized, and he's like, this is awesome. And then he hears her, and it suddenly becomes incredibly serious, and he just takes off to the Kent farm. He gets there, and Pa Kent is dead. This was a huge moment, because, again, no one saw this coming, because, like I was saying, this was a by-the-number Superman book. Well, like, the book was great, by the way. Like, even if this wouldn't happen, it's still a great storyline, but the end is very by-the-numbers, not like the storyline prior. Like, I really enjoyed the storyline, but the ending is very much a comic book ending. It's like, oh, happy ending, defeats the villain, he saves all the peoples, it's all good. And then Jonathan Kent dies, and it's like, I didn't see that coming. That came out of nowhere. Just Jonathan Kent dying is like, wow, that was, yeah, I didn't think that was going to happen. I didn't think, and the Superman storyline where just everything's going great, Jonathan Kent dies. And what's so great about this moment is the fact that it makes Superman even more relatable than he already is, and the fact that he died, well, Pa Kent died from a heart attack. It wasn't from, anyone trying to kill, it wasn't from anyone killing him or anything like that. It was from a heart attack. It wasn't anything Superman could have prevented. Superman, with all his mass amounts of power, could not have stopped it, and that's something very relatable to a lot of people, myself included, because there's no getting justice for a heart attack. You can't put it on trial. You can't punch it in the face. You can't see it get executed. There's no, hey, the heart attack's on death row. There's none of that. You don't get the satisfaction of knowing there was justice for what happened. Nope, just heart attack, move on. You got to deal with it now. Good luck dealing with it. And it's just, Superman has to deal with that. I think that's great. I think that was a great situation to put Superman in, because it's like, hey, the greatest superhero of all time has to deal with what you do, and it's really great, and it's something to where there's nothing he could have done. So yeah, I really love this moment. The ending of the book, also the art by Gary Frank is just amazing, but the ending of the book is Superman, well, Clark Kent on the ground crying with a horseshoe that he had given to his father earlier, which was engraved saying like greatest father in the world or something like that, and it was with his heat vision that he ingrained it, and he gave it to his father because his father kept a chest full of things from Clark's child, and he's like, here's another one for the chest. And so he's just holding that, crying, and it's like, that's huge, because we thought this, well, I thought this book was going to end with Superman triumphant over Brainiac, resizing Kandor, Kryptonians are back, this is all great, but instead it ends with Clark Kent on the ground crying, and I was like, that's pretty big, that hits you. So yeah, that's why it's on this list. Number 1 occurs in Jonah Hex, Bury Me in Hell. Now, this book is just a collection of a bunch of one-shots from Jonah Hex. It's not a flowing storyline, but it all happens in the same universe, so it all happens the same character and everything, but it's not a flowing storyline, which is what a lot of the Jonah Hex books are. So yeah, but anyways, the issue that I'm talking about, what happens is, it opens up with these guys talking at a bar, they're at a saloon, they're talking about, hey, there's this old guy that's been going in and out of town, from town to like the middle of the desert, you know, he's mining for gold, and he hasn't really found anything yet, but today he left town with a bunch of dynamite, which means he found it, he found some gold, and he's about to get it all. We should kill him and take his gold. No one would know, no one would be the wiser or anything. That's free gold for us. Hey, that works great. And those guys leave the saloon, and then we see Jonah Hex comes out of the shadows. He was listening to their whole conversation. We see that Jonah Hex rides up to where those men were. They all got killed, and the old man, he got a bullet through him, but he's still alive. He's still barely breathing. Jonah Hex starts talking to him, and the old man's like, go ahead, just take the gold, you want it, I can't do anything about it, you really gonna take it from a dying man, and just starts talking to him like that, and then it's revealed that this man is Jonah Hex's father. Now this is huge for a long-time Jonah Hex fan like myself, because when I first read this, I did not see that coming from anywhere. I did not think, hey, I bet this old man is Jonah Hex's father, like, because he's such a huge, well, Jonah Hex's father created the Jonah Hex we know, not just because he's literally his father, so he literally created him, but the fact of he set him on the path, the course to becoming this killer, and so that's kind of huge for him to come, for it to sort of come full circle, and him to finally meet his father at the very end, because for those of you who don't know the Jonah Hex origin, I'll get into it just a little bit. What happened was, Jonah Hex's father was very abusive, he beat him and his mother, and so his mother was just like, okay, I'm gonna marry this rich guy and leave you with your abusive father, bye, so his mother booked it. And so his father, of course, blamed Jonah for that and beat on him even more. And then one day when his father wanted to go across the country, wanted to go through Apache territory, they're like, okay, you're going to have to give us something to pass, you know, payment. And he's like, here's my son. So the Apaches took him in as a slave, and that's what set him on the course to becoming Jonah Hex. And yeah, so his father beat on him until selling him to Apaches to where he became a slave. Not exactly Father of the Year right there, so for him to meet him now in his old age when he's dying is huge, and this moment is just fantastic. Like, the dialogue back and forth is like Tarantino type dialogue. It's something to where nothing else has to be going on in the scene. It relies fully on the dialogue, and that's mainly the majority of this issue, is just these two talking back and forth, and it's great. Now, the art is done by Jeff Lemire, and he's one of my favorite current writers, not artists. His art is very particular. You have to have a certain liking towards his art, because it's definitely not for everyone. It works great with Sweet Tooth, but for other books, like for Jonah Hex, it's okay. It's not my favorite, but if you can get past that and actually just get into the dialogue and everything that's going on, it's great. This scene is amazing. These two just talking back and forth until his father finally dies, and it's so great the way it was done. I loved it, and it comes full circle. Jonah meets his father, the man that created him in more than one way, and yeah, I really love the scene. It's amazing. Nothing more I can really say besides the fact that just the dialogue is so golden and perfect, and this moment was just amazing. Could not have been done better, and so yeah, I should definitely read it. So anyways, those are my top 5 favorite plot twists in DC Comics. Again, that's not really in order. I would definitely say that the Jonah Hex and Superman one are in my top 2. I just don't know which one's number 1, and the rest of they're basically all in just a random order. But yeah, so please let me know in the comments below, what are your top 5 plot twist in DC Comics. Also, I'll be doing one for Marvel soon. It might be out tomorrow. It might be out on like Thursday or something. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just gonna put it up whenever I have time and all that. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.